Hello, kind people. This is Dmitry. Welcome to my listener recap. I don't think I should qualify it with weekly anymore. I do skip them now and then. And in general, I think this year I'm slightly less excited about the run of the listeners. But I very much enjoyed this one. And so today we're going to talk about You Can't Have Both by Leo. Now, Leo is the setter who started setting something like 30 years ago. I believe their first listener came out in 1996. And then there was at some point a very big gap between 2009 and 2024. So the one in 2024 is the only Leo that I have solved until this one. So let's read the preamble. Answers to 24 clues clash in 12 cells. A thematic word that describes and resolves this situation must be entered in the clashing cells row by row. All other clues need a letter added to enable solving. The letters spell a thematic feature of these clues and their entries. Only 5 final grid entries are not real words. Their residues can form a thematic name that must be written below the grid. Numbers in brackets are the lengths of grid entries. Chambers Dictionary is the primary reference. One answer is a prefix. So what can we say from what can we say about kind of what we expect from the solving process when reading this preamble? Well, so some clues are normal, but if they are normal, then presumably their entries will clash. So the entries will participate in a clash. Now, what I didn't quite realize at the time is that because it says row by row here, it's actually one could reasonably infer from here that there was going to be exactly one clash per row. And indeed, there are 12 rows in the puzzle. I think it took me quite some time to realize that. And this is obviously helpful because that means that if you realize that in a certain row, one particular entry is part of the clash, or you can, even without locating the clash, you can deduce it by the fact that that entry's clue is normal, then the other one is going to be of the other type. And so what about the other ones? Well, they need a letter added to enable solving. And so and they say that the letters spell a thematic feature of these clues and their entries. So presumably here answers are not entries because it says that numbers in brackets are the lengths of grid entries. And so something has to happen with answers. I guess I'll show you like where I was at certain point in the solving process. So this is what my grid looked at some point. I'm just trying to understand where I might have actually recorded here the order in which I solved some of the clues. In fact, let me try and find the relevant. I believe I took a photo of my solution, and I should be then able to recall which ones were the first. Okay, I might have to pause now. 1 second. Interesting. I did find the photo of my paper solution, but actually, no, I didn't record anything. And that is a pity because, I guess I'll have to go on kind of this stage of the grid and maybe show you some of the clues as an example. So for example, convectional, conical vent trapping oxygen supply moving skywards, and of course you have to read supply as supply for the anagram indicator, and it becomes the anagram of conical vent plus O, and convectional is moving skywards. And this is a normal clue, and that means that there will be a clash somewhere there in that row. And of course, like if I realized from the start that each row has to have a clash, then I would know that this clue has to be normal, and so is the one for preventative there. And so is also the one for readiness, because there's no other clue on this on this row. And here, for example, I found that the 27 down is code. How does that work? Computable or decidable expression, primarily seen in a system of symbols. So you take principally seen in a system of symbols. So you take CODE, first letters of computable or decidable expressions, and you get code. And so there is one such clash. Now let's have a look at some of the other ones. So 17 down was breaking up a group of chairmen from SW19. SW19 is a Wimbledon postcode, and so the group of chairmen, and chairmen there are umpires, and the group of umpires is umpirage. So umpirage is what has to go there, and it needs an extra E, and so what you need to add E to this grime, and that would be an E. And so I believe I have it all written somewhere here. Yeah. And so okay, slightly leaping forward, so these extra letters spell incompleteness. So here is one of them. So here, for example, it's a certain pattern of lie harms a high flyer. And but umpirage is 8 letters and not 7 that we have in the grid. And then similarly 34 across is hotel residents must skip Vista's 4th level, and it is guess, which is guests without the 4th letter of this word. And now you know that these should not result in a clash. So somehow you have to turn that into something without a clash. And my guess was at some point that you just have to remove the last letter of each of them. And it was proved correct. So, so here is one pair of such clues that do not clash, and they get resolved by being squeezed in the grid by removing their last letters. So the feature of one half of the clues is incompleteness. And so now what about all those clashes? Well, at some point, yeah, and the thing is, okay, so here's another thing to note. So guess as G-U-E-S is a valid word, but umpirag without an E is not. And so we recall that only 5 clues end up with being non-words, and so this E from umpirage is one thing that goes into this name. So we have to form this name from the residues, so these things that are left from the non-words, which I think is a very clever sort of use of non-words, especially if one compares it with the puzzle that appeared the following week. And I'm not going to record a video on that, but I might say a few words at the end of this video. Now, and so you carry on, and you end up with all these clashes. And because we know that the resulting grid has to have non-words only in the entries which have this residue, so which have this last letter of their corresponding answer not in the grid, that means that all the clashes have to be resolved with the correct real words. And so, and you kind of could have guessed it from the incompleteness, you resolve them because it not only they resolve the situation, but they also describe it. So you resolve them with the word inconsistency. And so inconsistency and incompleteness are featured in Gödel's theorem, or impossibility theorem, and so indeed the residues of the 5 of these clues into which you needed to insert the 5 incomplete clues which required extra letters. Interestingly, I think I've only just realized. Yeah, I think I didn't realize it at all when solving the puzzle, that the extra letters are always inserted to the end of the word. So it's actually the words in the clues are incomplete, not that the whole clues are incomplete, and you need to insert a letter somewhere, but yeah, so they're incompleted in the same way as their answers are. So just the last letter is missing. And so 5 of those last letters, and I can try and kind of recall which ones. So I think, so amperage, as I said, is 1. So we need Gödel, so that gives us E. So what else did we have? This was amoeboid, I think, and that gives us D. This Kara is a word. So which other ones were there? So this was astro. Astro is not a word, and so that's why we get O. Now we get what else is here? So we need G and L. Let me try and remember where those come from. Let's go row by row. I don't think there's anything there. So now let's go column by column. This is a bit annoying that I can't. Oh yeah, so air marshal. So there is an L there, and finally peddling, I think, gave us G, and so that's how we got Gödel. And so you, I didn't even do it here, but you put Gödel here. Slightly not sure like whether I'm allowed to write it like this, as I think it should be spelled, but also, you know, that with the diacritics is not the letter. This is not a residue, so maybe I should leave it like this. I really, really enjoyed this puzzle. This was very elegant and very nice, and probably maybe even like makes my, well, I think it makes my top 5 of the year so far. It's a very kind of, everything is very thematic here, right? And it's kind of based around a very well-known result. I guess I should say a few words about the one that followed it. I'm not going to recap it because I didn't like it very much. I mean, maybe I'm missing something in it and maybe someone will explain it to me, but I think that was a puzzle that felt very much sort of under-edited. It had an extremely clumsy last instruction, and despite the title, it had non-words for practically no reason at all, and I don't think it was particularly beautiful, and I don't find the subject particularly inspiring. So yeah, I'm going to miss next week, and let's see what the week after brings, and hopefully I'll be back then. Thank you for watching. Bye.